Hello, my beautiful people. I hope you're doing very, very well because today I have the last video for you on present tense verbs conjugations from group 1. And we know that there's 4 in total, as we've discussed before. And we're basically finishing this first group. And this is a video about the second exception that is present within the 6 groups that are present within this first group of conjugations. I know you might be thinking, what the heck is she talking about? But to understand this, you have to go through the video that talks about those 6 groups and to see the first exception video. So do that before you continue watching this video. This first group of conjugations, as we know is responsible for 25% of verb conjugations in Polish. And I always say it's always better to know exactly how one group works and conjugate other verbs in an incorrect manner, because most likely the native speaker will understand you. And that's what we're aiming at. We want you to be understood and we want you to understand others, okay? So a quick recap of the first group of conjugations and the 6 groups that are present there. And the actual 2 exceptions are to do with the verbs that end in ać. Basically, that's all. To understand this video, as I said, watch the other 6 video on the subject. So that was the actual exception 1. It was all the verbs with the preceding letters of S, Z, or and K, and they had a special stem change that we see on the screen today. But we will look at exception number 2, and here the preceding letter are P, B, and M. That's the stem changes that we see. So the verbs that will end in patch, they will experience the stem change from pa to P. And verbs that end in batch will change from ba to B, and match will change from ma to me. So at this stage, you know what we do with it when we have an infinitive of a verb. We take off the chi, and basically that's what happens when we take off the chi. We change the stem into the one we see on the screen. If it makes no sense, like I said, watch the other videos. But now we will see it all in context with the various examples, so you will see that this is so simple. So the first endings of the exception 2 end in patch. Right? So quite simple. The verb here that we will look at is KOPAĆ się, and this is a reflexive verb because we can see the reflexive pronoun się, and it basically means to take a bath, to wash. So what do? We take off the chi, so the usual, then we are left with KOPA쪼, and that's where the magic happens. We change the pa to p, so we are left with KOPI. And we add the verb endings and the reflexive pronoun. Basically, that's all we do for those verbs. The final verb looks like this. Ja kąpię się. Kąpię się. Ty kąpiesz się. Kąpiesz się. On, ona, ono kąpie się. Kąpie się. My kąpiemy się. Kąpiemy się. Wy kąpiecie się. Kąpiecie się. Oni, one kąpią się. Kąpią się. Let's look at another example. So another verb that ends in patch, not just the simple ać, okay? So when you see the letter P, it will trigger the exception rules, okay? That's basically what happens. So the verb KۆPAČ, which means to kick a ball, to kick a table, whatever you want to kick, okay? We do the same thing. We take off the infinitive letter chi. We are left with KۆPA. We change the pa part to P. And we add the adequate ending for first person singular, which is L in this case. Ja kopię. Kopię. Ty kopiesz. Kopiesz. On, ona, ono kopie, kopie. My kopiemy, kopiemy. Wy kopiecie, kopiecie. Oni, one kopią, kopią. Let's look at an example of a verb that ends in bać. And in this case, I've chosen the only verb I could think of in the moment of making this presentation, which is DŁUBAĆ. And DŁUBAĆ means to pick on something, okay? So like you can see, you can pick on your nose, but you can also pick at food, for example. So it also has this kind of connotation of picking at food if it's in the bowl. So, you're picking within the bowl to find whatever nut or whatever kind of thing you want to find in that bowl. So it's not only connected to picking your own nose, okay? Just to bear that in mind. And we do the same thing. We take off the letter chi of the infinitive. We are left with DŁUBAĆ, and we change the ba part to be. And the final verb looks like this after we end the adequate verb endings. Ja dłubię, dłubię. Ty dłubiesz, dłubiesz. On, ona, ono dłubie, dłubie. My dłubiemy, dłubiemy. Wy dłubiecie, dłubiecie. Oni, one dłubią, dłubią. And an example of exception to verb that ends in mać, okay? So when you see a verb that ends in ać and you actually ends in mać, you know that this will trigger the rules of the exception to from the first group of present tense conjugations, okay? So here I have a verb KłAMAĆ, KłAMAĆ, which means to lie. So we do the same thing. We take off the chi. We change the ma part to me, and we add the adequate verb endings. So the verb looks like this. Ja kłamię, kłamię. Ty kłamiesz, kłamiesz. On, ona, ono kłamie, kłamie. My kłamiemy, kłamiemy. Wy kłamiecie, kłamiecie. Oni, one kłamią, kłamią. Another example is the verb ŁAMAĆ, to break. So what do? Yes, we take off the chi letter, which indicates the infinitive. And after that, what do? Yes, we do change the ma to me, like you see on the screen, and you add the adequate verb endings. And I hope you know them off by heart by this stage, because it's the 8th video where we discuss verbs of the Polish present tense. So you should really know those really well at this stage. Okay? Try to practice them like writing in your copy and stuff and repeating them out loud. Pause the video if necessary to repeat, because you need to be able to pronounce those right. And if you still don't know how to pronounce the Polish alphabet, double letters, and all of those, please watch my video on the alphabet, because that's just going to make your life much more easier. Okay, so what do? Yeah, we've already said what we're going to do. So the final verbs looks like this. Ja łamię, łamię. Ty łamiesz, łamiesz. On, ona, ono łamie, łamie. My łamiemy, łamiemy. Wy łamiecie, łamiecie. Oni, one łamią, łamią. And that's it, guys. That's the whole first group of present tense verb conjugations. I know we have 3 more groups to do, but guys, you've done so much. And if you know those rules already quite well, I am confident in letting you go into the world, conjugating your verbs, and having the chance of actually being understood and actually to understand others, because once you learn those rules that we've seen in the 8 videos, you actually start to understand others as well. And next week, I am coming with 10 love phrases. And that's actually a topic you voted for on my Instagram page. So if you're not part of our community there, and we've quite, large at this stage within a very short time, come and join us, Spanglish, take part in the quizzes and in the votes for next topics that you want me to cover. So thank you and see you in the next one.